Carl.
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit. But he was sexy. We were 15.
Please stop doing that.
No, I was 15. Carl was older. 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It was stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family. Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon. Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date. We went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had the one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me, but that was it. We didn't want another Carl in our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back.
Ouija board.
After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
Stop. Chit chat. You're gonna wait a minute.
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
It's going down there. Are you done? No. Okay, I'll hang a bit longer. Buzz when you're ready. Diary.
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. Helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point, and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day, and I left. Walked out and across the street.
Yeah, I don't think it was an accident. I don't think it was an accident.
It just became my way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things, and we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them. Okay, she's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty. Maybe it was mistaken identity. Did they catch her there? I don't know. It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird in a way it hadn't been before.
Watch? I don't know if I looked that up. Nope, I did not.
I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us. We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday.
I didn't finish reading that.
Yes. It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he... I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it. I left the next day, Saturday. I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And excuse me. Is there a bin?
Morning sickness.
In his throat. How? Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead. Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off. Okay.
Bye.
I was given blood before. Do you need to take that for your records? Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. She was sat behind him. She had my wig on. And she'd been there all day. And she had blood on her. And she was in shock. A wig? You mean... what type of wig? No, I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig? This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap? No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognised me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers, drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
I think I've looked up almost everything that I figured out. What if I do? Sister? Fight? I think I looked at argument before. Oh, that one popped on though.
When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates. We could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive-aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything.
Married. Yeah, there's a couple more.
A long time. We got married when I was 17. Childhood sweethearts. Something like that. And you married detective. I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the Glaziers. Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long, though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car. A mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the Glaziers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle. No. Everyone loved Simon. He's a Glazier, he doesn't have much money. I don't know. I don't know.
Filling it in.
Sure, I think. I do all the bills and paperwork and handle all the money stuff, so it should be easy for me to find. Do you want them dropped off to you? If you put me on You've Been Framed, I want the money.
Paperwork? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Home.
It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present.
Present.
At the time they said it was poison. Food poisoning. I mean, I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I didn't. I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt. I mean, why hasn't he phoned? I don't know. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up, and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
Present.
About 8 years back, it was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup. Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that. A week or so ago, it would have been the Saturday before my birthday. You know, I get like that on the weekends, have a lie-in, then want to get up and blitz the house.
What do we want to look for? There we go.
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question? Are you out of your mind? Twins? There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things. Yes, this is it. He made it himself. It was a special one-off. He made it and decorated it. That's his thing. Where did you find it?
Parents. Mom. Ah, there's another one.
No, they were shut. Most of the windows were really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door. No, no cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway. When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code. Something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor.
She was doing in the other video.
Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway.
So what was that? The knock code? Or no. What about just code? No. I don't know. And it seems like I've got a lot to find still, too. Over there, so I don't hit it. Missing so much. Did I look like death already? Let's go away. Nope. Help if I could spell. Death? Whoops. Hey, there's one.
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do, to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's... It's like I told you before, I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think for some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon. I think when I drove back it was about 8 or something. And I got back to the house about 3. Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember, well, I went over the river. And then there was a church there. Yeah. And I probably parked. Well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princes Street. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There. Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic. It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford. There was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford?
Wait, what?
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford? I haven't been into work. I guess I've just been waiting, waiting to hear from you, hear from my husband. When you suspect someone of murdering their husband. She's crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman. But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine.
Doesn't bring back anything, but yeah. I had something in my head to look up and I can't remember what it was now.